Hello, class. Welcome to a recorded DI or direct instruction on cells and body systems. Now, I'm sure everyone has the booklet with them. And as always, consider the booklet as your homework, assignment package, or review booklet. So keep it, don't lose it. So, exactly what do we have here? So, we talked about cells before and we said that there are two kinds, plant cell and animal cell. Now, the parts of a cell, there is a word for that. It's called organelles. So let's move in. And you have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight organelles that we just discussed in class. So the either the cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, vacuoles, endoplasmic reticulum, and the mitochondria. This can be found in animal cells. But with the plant cells, we have two extra organelles, and that could be the G and H on your diagram. So that would be the cell wall and the chloroplast. So, what's the diagram that I'm talking about? So, I want you now to pull out from your binders, maybe, so that we could take a good look at this one. Okay. So, let's try and focus on this and look closely at the letters. Of course, what you have is the black and white version of this. And you could always just put in the letters to guide you. So you can see from here the A part. So follow the arrow here. Okay. So that's the A part or the cell membrane. So that's for the animal cell, and this is the plant cell. This is the A part. And usually, when you research on images for animal cell and plant cell, if something squarish, rectangular in shape, or green in color, that's a big clue that you are dealing with a plant cell. Otherwise, it's the animal cell. Okay? So, what exactly is the first one? So, it's nice if you always have this analogy in your mind so that it's better for you to remember the functions of the organelles. Like, for instance, here, the cell membrane. Think of the cell membrane as like our skin, it protects the insides of the cell and controls how everything moves. So, a little bit of trivia here that I would mention in class. So, what accounts for the skin color would be a type of pigment or color that we call as melanin. So, this is affected by red cells flowing close to the skin. In fact, the Melanesians, these are the indigenous people of Melanesia close to Fiji Islands, Papua New Guinea. They have black skin, but surprisingly, blonde hair, right? So, that's a side trivia. And of course, when we move on to the next, right? So we now have here the B, the cytoplasm. In your diagram again, where is the cytoplasm? So let me just make sure that I have this one on this separate slide, right? So where is the B part? Let's make that bigger. Okay, the B part would now be, as you can see, it's something from the inside, the B part. So it's just the lining of your clothes, right? So try and just remember it in that way, right? So let's go back to what it does, right? So the B now, it says here, so you can just listen to me and pause it so that it gives you time to write down or take down notes, right? On a loose leaf. So here, for instance, so the cytoplasm fills up the space inside the cell. And it's like the blood in our system, it's just like a waterfall. It flows and distributes oxygen and food to different parts of the cell. So, what's the next one? Let's now. deal with the letter C, the nucleus. Let's see how it looks like, okay? So it says here, the description, the nucleus is like the brain, our brain. Think of it as the leader, the principal, or the boss. It's that large, dark, round in shape, and it's the command center. It tells every organelle what to do. So going back to your diagram, take a good look at where the nucleus is. Definitely, this is it, right? So it strikes your attention right away. Oh, that must be the nucleus. Circular in shape, kind of like a standout. So this is the brain. Very powerful. It controls all the movements of the organelles. So it's a command center. So that's letter C on your diagram. Now let's move on to the next one. So we are now into the vacuole. So the vacuole. So how would you remember it? Now think of it this way. It's like your fridge, cupboard, or store. It's balloon-like in appearance. It can store, keep surplus or extra food and waste and other materials that the cell cannot use right away. It's like spare food. So it's balloon-like in appearance. So where is that? So let's try and go over again your diagram, right? So this one, the diagram, okay? And let me just zoom it, zoom it out so that you can see and spot out where's the vacuole. So this would be it, balloon-like. So this is the vacuole. This is another vacuole here under the plant animal cell. Vacuole, vacuole. How about on the plant cell? So this is the like a flattened out balloon, right? Even this and even this part that's sticking out. So think of this as your letter D or the vacuole. Okay. Now let's now move on to after the vacuole, what comes next? Big word. Endoplasmic reticulum. So what is it? So think of it like a system of canals, like a folded paper. It transports materials to different parts of the cell or to the outside of the cell. So the analogy is that of a folded paper or like a system of canals. You can even think of it as what? As a transit bus, right? In a transit bus, you see people hopping on or off, right? But then they sit down and secure a spot inside the bus, and yeah, and they ride the bus and stop at where they should be stopping, right? So where is that in your diagram? So let's see if you can spot things out. So from here, so letter E, like a folded paper. So this is identified as the E, this part, right? So this can also be the E part, right? So this is the representation of the endoplasmic reticulum, like a folded paper, right? So both animal and plant cell, you can get to see those. So let's move on, okay? And after the E, you have what? The mitochondria. So a little bit of ELA here, right? Or English. So if it is just one singular, we say mitochondrion or plural mitochondria. So what does it do? Or how can we compare it with what? Like, so it says here, it's like electricity or a set of batteries, the sun, light, right? Or generator. So basically, it's the powerhouse of the cell. It's oval shape that provides energy to the cell. If you recall, there we had that video clip by Bill Nye on cells. So one of the big words there that you wrote down was mitochondria. So again, let's take a good look at your diagram. So again, as you are writing or taking down notes, reference it with your diagram and locate that part, right? So there you go. So you can just clearly see where that is. So you get to see this, right? The F, right? The F. So see how it looks like, right? And we compared it to what? Can you remember? We said that it's oval shape that provides energy to the cell. Although you get to see like a series of batteries, one after the other. But basically, that's how you can spot it out under a high powered microscope. Okay, so after letter F, what comes next? You have G, right? So the G, so G and H now are the two organelles that can only be found among plant cells. So if we take a good look at the cell wall, the comparison is this: it's just like your skeleton, or the frames of your house, or the building of or our own room, right? Or you can consider it like a crutch, a ladder. It provides support for the cell. So, and if you think about plants as this can be compared to the trunks, to the branches, right? That makes up the plant itself, right? So there is that cell wall component in that in the plant. So here, where can I see that the cell wall? So you have an idea of that when you again look at your paper, at your diagram on the animal versus the plant cells. So that would now be this one, kind of like a very thickened layer outside the skin or outside the cell membrane, right? So this can be your cell wall. Notice that on the animal cell, we don't have that. It's only in the plant cell. Now, another organelle that can only be present in a plant cell would be the chloroplast. Again, I have this comparison made or analogy. Think of the chloroplast like your cooking utensils, like your pots, your ladle, or even a kettle there. It's the structures in which the process of photosynthesis take place. Again, that word photosynthesis, that's a big word. It's nothing but the process or ability of the plant to make food, and we'll have a slide on that shortly. So, chloroplasts. So, if you're going to take a good look again at your diagram, try and see where it is. Spot it out, check it out. Where could it be, right? So, of course, you're not going to look on this part on the animal cell. It should only be found here, right? So, it's the H there, right? So, this would be your chloroplast, or this can also be it, right? This two, okay? How's your note taking going on so far, class? I know it's tough, eh? So you just need to pause and then take down notes. And I've seen in class some of you guys how you were able to just use technology, right? In a positive way. You have your cell phones with you, and then you would do a screenshot, and then hopefully, right, you would be rewriting it again on your notebooks or on a loose leaf and file it away in your binder, okay? Because that's what a good student does, right? And I know you're all good students. So there you go, H. Now a little bit of info here, right? So the chlorophyll, right? What is that? It's like the ingredients or what you need in cooking. It's the green pigment that absorbs sunlight that is needed for photosynthesis to take place. So, going back earlier, so if you have the chloroplast compared as your cooking utensils, you need to put something in it, and that would be the chlorophyll, right? So, That's one way of looking at it. Now, this had been mentioned earlier, right? So, what is photosynthesis? So, you can think of it as the cooking process or the process of making food for the plants. And another big word would be cellulose. It's just like the marrow in your bones, like fillings in a samosa or dumpling or a spring roll, right? So it's the tough, hard material inside the cell wall that provided support for the cell. So it's not as hollow as a drinking straw, no. So when you cut off a trunk of a tree or maybe a stem, you still could see something inside of that, right? And we call that the cellulose. Or if you want to compare it with a bone, the thing inside, that's the marrow. That's why dogs probably love to chew on bones because there is the delicious marrow inside the bones, right? And even if you cook or prepare soups, right? If you have chicken bones or beef bones, it really makes a better broth or soup, right? So there you go, people. This is all the recorded DI on the organelles. So I hope you make an effort to really just study the diagram and take note of all the different organelles: the cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, vacuoles, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, the cell wall, and the chloroplast. Okay, that's it for now. Ciao.